All right, so today I want to talk about this tweet from Frank McVitie, who's responding to a article from the Globe and Mail, and it is basically I'll go on to read his tweet. Quebec will receive 13.2 billion in equalization payments from the federal government for this budget year, 100 million increase over last year. They're still trying to figure out how they're going to spend the surplus from this year. Isn't equalization wonderful? And this is Canada, and to me, it still goes to show just how messed up Canada is that this kind of stuff can go on. Alberta's over here, we're struggling away, and yet Quebec gets even more money. And they don't even know what to do. Like they're increasing their school budget. You have all these idiotic, like absolute. I mean, I know a lot of these people too. So I mean, not a lot, but enough to know. And idiotic school teachers and healthcare workers that are complaining that the budget's getting cut, even though, I mean, the healthcare budget isn't getting cut. Um, "Oh, the budget's getting cut. The budget's getting cut. Oh, poor us. We're not going to receive our, school teachers. We work half the year and we make 90 grand a year. Ooh, poor us. We're in such bad shape." And you have Quebec who or Alberta who's losing $20 billion a year in equalization, and yet these same people, at least most of them, will defend this kind of stuff. Like, how stupid can you be? If we literally stop paying this equalization money, we could easily afford to pay you what you want easily. Like, it's not even close, and yet you'll still defend it. And that's what I wanted to talk about. I mean, that and a lot of other stuff is that what you really want is just more leftism and more socialism. Stop saying you care about the kids and you care about your health care and taking care of people. No, you care about more socialist policies. You see these teachers in Ontario that are cutting off their strike now because it's spring break. I thought you care about the kids. Why aren't you striking when you're not going to be getting paid to strike? Ah, yeah. See, it's like I say, in reality, they don't actually care. They care about money and they care about socialism. That's what they care about. They want more money and they want more socialism. Stop pretending you care about the kids. You're not, I mean, you're fooling a lot of people, but you're not fooling me and you're not fooling a lot of people. And you're not fooling anybody who has their heads on the least bit straight. Like, come on. Come on. Um, and the people who still defend this kind of stuff, especially the people in Alberta, like, man, like, throw a picture of you in the dictionary next to the term Stockholm syndrome. Like, seriously, like, what? Like I always mention too, like, what would it take? Like, how much more money would the government have to take from us to make you concerned and make you have some uproar? And for all the people saying, well, oh, Alberta signed on to this kind of stuff, well, who cares? Like, I've been into politics for like 3, 4, 5 years. Like I would not even have came close to supporting this kind of stuff if you'd asked me. Like I mean, like I say, I'm too young to probably have been around even when they signed this kind of stuff. But the overwhelming majority of people that are Wexit supporters wouldn't have been for equalization in the first place. I guarantee you that's a terrible argument to be like, hey, Alberta, we're going to take 20 billion, 25 billion dollars a year from you. Actually, I think it's just over 20. We're going to take that money from you and you're not going to get anything back. And you're honestly saying that Alberta, that these Wexit supporters and most Albertans be like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Like, how stupid are you? Like, that's your argument? Like, that's literally what a lot of these people are saying, that oh, Alberta was perfectly fine with it in the past. Well, number one, the reason for that is that Alberta was doing well because we were allowed to expand our oil and gas sector. But now, because the federal government and some of these provincial governments have regulated it out of existence, it has very little to do with the price of oil. Stop making that argument. It's a terrible argument. Prior to this whole coronavirus thing, messing with the economy, worldwide, Canada was the only country, like the states, the oil and gas sector is booming. Everywhere else, the oil and gas sectors are booming. In Africa, there's a lot of places where the oil and gas sectors are booming. Namely, Trudeau's giving these African countries money to expand their oil and gas sector. I thought there wasn't money to be made in oil and gas anymore. That's your argument for Alberta, that oh, there's no money to be made in oil and gas anymore. But yet you have these African countries that, have technology that's probably, way less, not nearly as good as Alberta's, and yet somehow they're able to make money off it. Their currency isn't nearly as strong as the Canadian dollar, but yet they're still going to be able to make money off it. Like, that is such a terrible argument. Like, the fact that that's the best argument you guys can come up with is pretty telling, and it's very sad because it's the easiest thing in the world to debunk. Like, it's terrible. And that's the one thing too that I really like now that I'm, getting the odd person who comments. Um, I'm always very skeptical of my political views, like contrary to people on the left. And in making these videos, I've seen that the only people who come with negative comments are the stupidest comments, the worst arguments, like terrible arguments. And that I starting to think to myself that, hey, if I was so wrong about this kind of stuff, they would have, people that disagree with me would actually have decent arguments. But yet I've, made hundreds of videos, not a ton of views, but enough views that I'm getting people commenting in every video. And yet still no actual, I've yet to see someone make a good argument against any view that I have. Not one. It's always either straw man, taking me out of context, or just like, you know even worse stuff, like the one guy, oh, all conservatives are fascists, like all that kind of crap. So that's kind of something that I wanted to mention. But anyway, to bring it full circle and just sum it up, because I don't want to talk, I could talk forever on this kind of stuff. um this is where Canada's at. And for all the people, like I say too, I wanted to make this video for the people that still somehow think that Canada has cares about Alberta's interests. Like the fact that Quebec is getting more money, like Quebec literally balances their budget. Like Quebec gets to spend an extra $13.2 billion a year. Like, not only that, imagine if Alberta could spend the $50 billion that they generate, which we're only able to spend, I think, 27, 28 right now. Imagine if we could spend 13.2 more. I mean, the province of Alberta could literally spend an extra, what, $40 billion a year and our current budget is like 27. Imagine if Alberta could literally spend 150% more, because that's what Quebec is basically doing. I mean, Alberta would be the richest province in Canada by far, by far. Alberta would have one of the highest standards of living in the world. Arguably, they would, but yet because this kind of BS needs to go on, and you guys don't have something. Not most of the people watching this, but because people don't have the balls to call it out, Alberta has to suffer, and Quebec gets to run massive deficits, but yet still balance it with the equalization money that they steal from Alberta. So I'm gonna leave the video there, like I say, because I could talk for literally an hour on this kind of stuff, because there's so much stuff to go over and so much stuff that bothers me. But anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. If you like the video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. I do have my PayPal linked in the description. I do have an email address for e-transfer. I appreciate any donations, but at the very least, just hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already.